Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead with a tea break. Okay, here's what's going on. It's been raining for 3 days. Last night, I did a lot of stuff yesterday. Excuse me. I spent most of the day trying to get working on my studio downstairs, and that studio is just a fancy word for I've taken over the living room space downstairs. But it involved a lot of schlepping. Holy cow. Okay, picture me. Okay, you know, I've just discovered I can go up and down those stairs once a day, right? So that I can make that work for me. But I went up and down those stairs like 5 times yesterday. Tell me, I kid you not, my right knee told me about every single trip all night long last night. But I was taking stuff downstairs for the studio, you know, like all my salt lamps and my crystals and my cards. I still haven't taken down my crystal ball, but my crystals and my cards and all that stuff. But by the time I had everything ready to go downstairs, I had a 25-pound box that was like 2 feet by 2.5 feet. I had a full recycled shopping bag, and I had another shopping bag that was only half full. How was I going to get this stuff all down those stairs? So I tied 2 extension cords together and put them through the handle of the shopping bag. And over the half wall where you come in my front door, you know how like the stairs are surrounded by a low half wall, I lowered the bag down. And then it got so that it was sitting on the second bottom step. So I just kind of swung it a little bit and then let it gently drop, because that had my laptop and everything in it. Then I have a handrail on the left side of my staircase. Well, it's the right side if you're looking at it. But I was going down backwards. So I put the shopping bag on my left arm and I gripped that handrail and I pulled that 25-pound box of stuff to the edge of the stairs, and it would have slid down, but I was afraid of breaking stuff at the bottom, right? So I started to back down the stairs. And I got one hand on the handrail, and I got my milk and tea and stuff in a shopping bag on my arm, and I'm backing down to the stairs. And I had been firing things like slippers and stuff down the stairs. So as I'm backing down the stairs, with the railing and the bag, and I got this 25-pound box sliding down. I'm holding the box like this and backing down the stairs and giving it a controlled slide, and I'm kicking crap off the stairs as I'm going down. Oh, what an adventure. Got all the way down there, forgot my phone. But so that's what I was doing yesterday. But the problem was I got all that stuff downstairs, and I was just starting to set up. Like, there's a lot to set up to make things work. And I still have more stuff that has to go downstairs. And I'm still waiting for stuff to come in the mail. But I started setting stuff up, and I was working up a good sweat and everything. And because I got a little kitchenette down there, too, and a bathroom. So I made myself a cup of tea, and I started working. And then the power went out. And my phone was upstairs. So I'm like, okay, break time. So I hobbled up the stairs and sat down with my phone and my cup of tea, and I called my cousin. We had a little chat, and about 15 minutes later the power went back on. I said, I got to get back to work. But first, you see, before I went downstairs, I had put a whole roasted chicken in a Dutch oven. Or a whole little roasting chicken in the Dutch oven. Surrounded it with 3 potatoes, 4 carrots, and an onion. I put the lid on it, I put it in my oven, and I set the timer. Electric oven! So before I went back downstairs, I reset the clock on the oven, I reset the timer and the temperature and all that stuff so that if I was downstairs working, I wouldn't have to come back up to turn the oven on. So then I did my patrons live. I started to do my patrons live stream from downstairs just to show them what was going on and how things were developing. And the power went out. And I was okay with the live stream because it was my phone. And my phone was plugged into my laptop, and so was my ring light plugged into my laptop. So I could continue, because everything was on battery, I could continue to live stream. But the oven wasn't going to come on in time. So as soon as the power came back on, I said goodbye to everybody, I closed my live stream, and I hobbled up the stairs and I put supper on again. But guess what time it was? 6 o'clock. So 8:30 last night, I'm making a video. If you want it, please let me know if you want it, because it's a video I've pretty much done before. But so at 8:30 last night, I took the lid off the Dutch oven, and it was a beautiful supper. But it was too heavy of a meal for me to have that close to bedtime. But Howard was starving. So I took a little video saying, this is what we're having for supper. And that was it. And my, and even the opening, I didn't even have glasses on, so you're not gonna recognize me in the opening of the video. So now today, what's left is the carcass, well, just the body cavity carcass and 2 breasts. And I'm going to make 1 breast into supper tonight and 1 breast into supper that I can put in the freezer for another night. And then I'm going to make soup out of the carcass. Then the next day, well, when I make the soup, I'm going to do a separate video because I'm going to make noodles for that soup. So I might as well make a bunch of noodles because it's soup season. It's been raining for 3 days. We've turned on the baseboard heaters. You know what I mean? So that is going to be a progression of, the 4 meals, 1 chicken, and then a noodle video. Plus, we're going to get frost soon, and excuse me, as soon as we get frost, I'll be able to harvest the rutabagas, and the deer carrots are out. So there's a dehydrating carrots video coming, and then there's a canning rutabaga. There's a really mad chipmunk out there. So there'll be a rutabaga canning video, there'll be a dehydrating carrots video. My parsnips I'm not going to pull up until they've had a hard frost, which means where the ground is crusty on top, not just frosty. It's kind of hard, and that's what sweetens them. And I've got to pull my beets too, but I'm not doing anything with the beets. I'm just going to age them or let them dry, and then I will put them away for Christmas, right? So this is, and we're not having Thanksgiving this year here because it's cold and flu season, and everybody in our families is vaccinated except us, right? So I don't want to, let me rephrase that. It's cold and flu season, and even though Nan is double vaccinated, I don't want to run the risk of her coming out in cold and flu season, right? So I would rather wait until Christmas, or until we know we're through cold and flu season, and she can come and not be worried, right? So that's kind of how things are going. So Howard and I are going to do the last races of the year, which is the Spooktacular, where they kind of combine Thanksgiving and Halloween all in one big long weekend. And it's going to be cool. It's going to be awesome. We can socially distance, and it's cool enough that we don't have to run the generator to run the air conditioning, and it's cool enough that we can keep warm with our own heat at night. So all these things are coming up. How people have been asking me about live streams why they're missing live streams. This is how the live streams work, okay? I no longer do daily live streams, not public daily live streams. On Monday and Wednesday and Friday, I do unlisted live streams with my patrons, okay? And Monday and Wednesday are just usually kind of a visit like this. Friday is Freaky Fridays, where we listen to music and have a good time. Somewhere in those three, when my studio is finished, I'm going to be doing a patrons live stream in Glamour, doing cards and crystals and stuff. So that will be like, you know, Freaky Friday, and then a regular live stream, and then a Glamour live stream. I only live stream publicly on Thursdays and Sundays, and I do it on Life with the Wolfies. So that's why I've been letting you guys know where I am on Thursdays and Sundays. As soon as my studio is finished, I will begin doing the Little House Live series on the Reading Channel, and I will have everything, all my ducks in a row about how things are going to work, because almost all of my live streams, as soon as the studio is done, all the live streams are going to be from down there, right? Including Little House Live, including, you know what I mean? So, and once a month, one of my public live streams will be in Glamour, doing cards and crystal ball stuff, and just having some fun. Okay, so these are the things that's going on. I'm getting all my ducks in a row. Oh, as for the problem with the the IRS or whatever it is in the U.S., if you remember back in the spring, I told you I filled out U.S. tax forms because some countries are taxable for their YouTube content. Now, Canada has a treaty with the U.S., so mine aren't, but I filled out the wrong form. And they started taking 30% of my income, of my YouTube income, which had already taken a huge hit due to COVID. All right, now I'm not asking you to send me money or anything. I'm just explaining what's going on, okay? So that has continued to happen, and I can't get a hold of AdSense, and I can't get hold of YouTube. All I can do is leave them a feedback and hope that somebody reads it, right? But I've talked to my accountant, and my accountant says, like, as long as I make my base amount every month that covers the 2 bills that I work to pay for, right, I'm okay. But now I have to work to make 30% more, because that's what's being taken away from me. So, for instance, I have to make $1,440 a month to pay for 2 bills that I have committed to paying to. Now I have to make $1,800 to cover those bills, because the government of the U.S., because I made a mistake on a form, they're taking that 30% from me. Now, it's not all as dire as it sounds. What's going to happen is, I talked to my accountant, and he said anything that's got to do with paperwork, government stuff, legalities, corrections in infrastructures, he said any kind of accounting, legal work is 4 months behind, and has been 4 months behind consistently since COVID started. He said, so because after the first time they did it, I went back through it with a fine-tooth comb, found my mistake, and fixed it. But they're still taking the money. But my accountant said it could, he said, at absolute worst, wait till the end of the year. And if that's still happening, if it hasn't corrected itself, because it could take up to 4 months to correct itself, right? Because that's why in April or March, in March, they were saying you got to fill out these tax forms because it's going to come into effect in June. That was like 4 months difference. So I had an aha moment. So at the end of the year, if it is still happening, then I will have to hire a tax lawyer to figure out what happened, how to correct it, and then go for the money that the U.S. government is withholding from me. At this point, they owe me $1,500. So that's what's going on there. I'll keep you posted, but if there are any other Canadian YouTubers out there who are experiencing this problem, please email me at connectedheartsfamily@gmail.com and let me know how you're dealing with it, if you have dealt with it, or if you don't know how to deal with it. Maybe we can help each other work through it. Okay? So canning is coming up. Oh yeah, I'm going to can the meat in my freezer. Not all the meat, just the meat that's left that's 6 months old. Then I'm going to take my flour out of the freezer, and instead of cooking all that meat and grinding it and dry canning it, I'm going to thaw it out, and I'm going to put 2 pork chops or 3 pork chops in a jar and can it. Even if they've got a bone in them, if I can fit them in the jar, that's what's going to happen. And then I can take the flour out of the freezer, and then that freezer can be tipped up onto the porch to thaw. And we can clean it out and put the hinges and the lid back on. And because my little freezer is chock-a-block full, and the pantry's filling up too. So you can look forward to a pantry video soon. All right? Well, within the next week or two. All right? This is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead saying, and that's what's going on across all my channels, all 3 of them. Take care, God bless, and I hope you are all well, safe, and surrounded in love. Mwah! Take care.